But then he heard a report about how things were in Israel, and everything changed. The words of Nehemiah, "It came to pass in the month of Chislev, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan, the citadel, that Hanani, one of my brethren, came with men from Judah. And I asked them concerning the Jews who had escaped, who had survived the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said to me, the survivors who are left from the captivity in the province are there in great distress and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates are burned with fire. So it was when I heard these words that I sat down and wept and mourned for many days, and I was fasting and praying before the God of heaven." I love that Nehemiah did not allow himself to be comfortable in his own station in life, because God blesses his people abundantly, and it's easy to just be comfortable in that. And so it was a good thing that he was blessed in that way. Do you understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, he kept his heart soft to God. He cared about the things of the kingdom. He cared about the glory and honor of Christ. He cared about the world so much that when he heard the state of the captives in Jerusalem and of the wall and even of the temple, because that was still part of it if it wasn't mentioned, it was in ruins, he wept and he mourned and he fasted. But so many people today, when they look at the ruins of society, they weep and they mourn, and they maybe even fast, because fasting really was just a form of mourning. But you're so miserable you can't eat food. But he wasn't just weeping and mourning and fasting. That in itself wouldn't have cut it. He mourned to let his heart feel deeply about the plight of humanity and the cause of God in the earth, and the cause of suffering in the earth, that the light is being turned out. But he also started praying and fasting because he had an idea. Because we see it in the story, his idea is, I'm going to go to the king, to Artaxerxes, and I'm going to ask for permission to go back and rebuild. And even before he went in, he said he prayed to the God of heaven, give me favor with Artaxerxes. And if you have eyes to see the audacity of one man who dares to believe. In one sense, he was just a man. He hadn't built himself up politically in that region. He was a cupbearer to the king, but he still wasn't that. He wasn't a governor in a sense. He hadn't built up any political capital or military capital, but he had kingdom capital because he was a man of prayer, a man who took God's calling and purpose seriously. And so this man by himself actually dares to dream that he could go back and rebuild, that he could go back and restore. Think about the audacity of this man. This was not calculated by any human calculation.